everybody. Hyper G and Lucky Sixes are here from Proxy Table Gaming.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in life gearing up for July, the month of holidays for us.
The month of insane
And
life stuff.
birthdays and all
Yeah,
this.
I know. With too
Um,
many people in our families born in
there
July,
is, yeah.
including ourselves.
I know,
So
both. Yeah.
we're just as selfish as all of those people.
So no, yeah, but excited to get to crack on with team tournament round number 2. And it's my Warriors versus Undying Dynasties, which actually came as a shock to me round 2 because the team we played didn't have Undying Dynasties in them.
How is this possible? Lucky Sixes, tell us.
So I'll get back to that. So what happened was within the tournament there was a few dropouts here and there, and I think this was Wales Leaks. It was either the Leaks or the Daffodils, one of the two. The one that wasn't with Ollie, because I played Ollie later on in the thing. Spoiler. But yeah. So what happened is the team there was an odd number of teams anyway, and the team that's having a bye, rock paper scissors it or whatever, decided that Hugh, the captain from Team Roses, was going to jump in and sub for them. And
so they basically just threw their worst player in, right?
the worst player they could have.
Someone who'd never played Ninth Age before, they just threw into this other team. You know,
feels like
completely to sabotage Team Wales, whichever team it was.
Easy 20 coming up.
Exactly.
This is my list. Take a pause. This is round number 2 now, but basically Herald, Chosen Lord, Sorcerer. Yeah, Herald's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The Sloth Brick with the Chosen Lord in it. Chosen Great Weapons Wrath. Chosen Knights with Gluttony, Waste and Torch. The Helmore being the crux of the list as a whole.
Yeah, so going back to the Knights, you haven't actually made use of Gluttony yet because they got kind of trounced in the last, or they got ignored in the last one, didn't they, effectively? So yeah, I want to keep an eye on that one as well. It's only good after it's been triggered, isn't it?
Absolutely. On to Hugh's Undying Dynasties list. He has 2 Death Cult Hierarchs on the Skull Horse going in that skeletal scout. Or cavalry, I'm not sure. But yeah, the Tomb Harbinger, BSB. It's basically a triple Battle Sphinx list.
Yeah, you got to scroll all the way to the end.
We go right to the bottom there. It does also have a unit of Necropolis Guard, which are really good. They have so many special rules: poison and killing blow, lethal strike. Is what I mean. Yeah. And then with the Death Mask to put the Weapon Skill 5 and stuff as well. It's a tough unit. In the
combined
book.
with the divination magic, it's really tough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that and the triple Sphinx basically is what it is. 2 units of Scarab Swarms as well. Nothing to sniff at because of the poison. And AP, I think they had AP1 as well. I'm not sure.
But that rings a bell. Yeah.
It was Surging Tide and the Spoils of War. Now, this
Surging Tide?
I have no idea what that is. Surging Tide, you ask? Funny you should ask. It's actually this. Yes. Basically, the deployment is usual deployment with 6 inches from the side, so you can go right out wide.
Cool. I like that.
You sort of both deploy a unit 1 for 1.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Bit different.
Yeah. This was the matchups as the tip for the team. So we didn't do very well. So I should say, however, Rory, who was unfortunately unable to come, it was a sickness, I think. Unfortunately for me, he was my best from the whole lot. We didn't have a very good matrix at all, and he was my only green within this anyway.
Right.
Then Hugh came in, and Hugh from the Team Roses wasn't exactly a green in my thing.
Even though he's a rubbish player.
Even though, player to player, if he wasn't playing this list. Maybe.
For the record, I've got nothing against Hugh. This is just a theme I've decided on the spur of the moment, right? I can't even explain it. Sorry, Hugh, but You're rubbish, mate. For the purpose of this battle.
Come on. But yeah, so basically we're looking like a pretty significant loss overall. So can we do better than our predictions? So we might be wrong. You never know. So
pressure's off. Really, every point will be important.
Luke played another Sylvan Elf twice in a row. I think this might have been Arton. Maybe I'm not sure.
He's quite good.
Yeah, you know. Paul. Well, as opposed to the ringer. Paul played Elliot Fromont with his vampire list that I played previously. Cluesy said the only list he didn't want was Ali's, so we gave him Ali's.
He's just asking for trouble, right?
Because out of all the Matrix, Ali's list for me in the Matrix in terms of colours and things was just you.
Yeah,
that's how I rated it.
And his list was pretty nasty too.
Yeah, it's just one of those spam ones. I'm just like,
sure.
Anyway, then I had Hugh, but Rory otherwise. But yeah, Rory was. I'm not gonna lie. Army to army. Anyway, was a bit better one. I picked this for my Herald.
So this time you have got Brandon.
With Brander the Dragon this time, and give him that. So that was cool. No shooting really from Hugh's point of view, so didn't need the extra -1 to hit, basically.
Cool.
Into deployment, and we have myself on the bottom, and I have Chosen Chariot, Herald, Chosen, Fallen, the Sloth Brick with the Helmore behind, the dogs, and the Chosen Knights on the right. That is a ruins ahead of me, and I've made this a ruins, this forest a ruins as well. So we've got a side of ruins, which is nice for them because of West End Torch.
Yeah.
From his point of view, he's got skeleton chariots on the top left with some swarms, Sphinx, the bunker of 10. Whatever skeleton cav, the Necro Guard in front of them, another Sphinx, the 7 scouts, which are lions at the minute, and a unit of chariots. The unit of skeletons in the middle of the board are ambushers, so they're not on currently, but just to let us know that they're coming on. Yes, and I got the first turn, managed to get it, and moved thusly, and I was kind of in spoils, so thinking about the objective, I put obviously my 2 biggest units in the middle for that central one to see if I could deter him mainly with the Wrath Chosen, to be honest, but otherwise just to see what would happen in there. I quite want to see, maybe not in a tournament setting, but I quite want to see whether the Necro Guard, how they do against the warriors, because I think it's quite even. With my lord in there, but yeah, we'll see. On the 2 flanks, I've got the Herald and the Chariot going against the Chariots, and I'm like, if they can, I'm pretty confident that the Chariot. It obviously comes down to who can charge, but if I can whittle them down to maybe 2 or even 1 Chariot, my Chariot doesn't even care if he comes into me. So
no,
I'm kind of like, if I pair them up and go that way, if I can pick up the swarms and the chariots and keep them alive, then it's a job's good, and obviously it keeps anyone away from that scoring zone as well with my Herald there. And then on the other side, I'll go, maybe I can even take a charge with the Chosen Knights and the chariots.
So. Yeah, because the chariots are only D3.
And especially with the ruins being there, if they have to go through the ruins, then there might be that as well. So
just for that, yeah.
I'm happy enough with that. It's just the triple Sphinx, how I can deal with them. Honestly, it's
because even your Chosen are wounding on 6 against that, isn't it?
Yeah. Res at 8. You're not what you're going to do, sort of thing. So my token is out on the right as well. So I'm thinking if he does put his skeletons over that side, which arguably is my weaker flank, then
you haven't got the 1 unit.
I can teleport some stuff over there to help. Also, I might be able to teleport some chaff at some point, but I don't want to do it too early because we've got he's got chaff as well.
Yeah, there's no restriction about what goes into the helm or tunnel now, is there? Like, even
No.
dogs
Well,
go into that
from my point of
without
view,
taking damage,
everything in
right?
my army purposely is picked so that it can. So I have that. I have that thing. So the chariot can, the fallen can, the dogs can, and I've got a march of 12. So the helm was actually pretty good from that point of view.
Didn't it used to be that you needed the certain armor on models?
Hellforge armor,
to go
yeah.
through without taking
My
damage?
first turn, I roll a 5/5 on Grave Calls, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I chose 5 because I had basically 5 versus 4, but
and you didn't want to split your dice because there was.
I didn't want to split. I was just like, one dice is useless. Let's just throw them all. Why not? Unfortunately, 5/5s goes to 6/6s, and when you roll the 1 card,
oh no,
you go to 7/7s. Basically, what that meant was my turn 1, without him moving, my herald blew up like.
Oh no! Goodbye.
This was how I looked for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Just go this. Why?
Did your heart just die?
Yeah, because originally I didn't twig the 1 card, and then when you twig that, he's like 6/6 is alright. I can take 4.
Was it Hugh that reminded you?
I've got an Aegis. Of course it was. He knows. Yeah, whatever. And I was just like, oh, well, that's rubbish. But I've got great
all for the sake of outdicing him by 1.
Yeah, I know exactly. So I've got.
Did you even roll his dice to see if he outdiced you?
No, he just let me have it.
Of course not.
And fortunately for me, I do 1 wound with Grave Calls.
No way,
onto these chariots.
Oh man.
Comeuppance for taking 5, for doing 5 dice, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a sad turn. And then it was his turn. So
now the chariot's got to deal with that whole flank of its own.
Yeah, so he moved thusly. The chariot's obviously set quite back both sides, and he starts moving over things over like so. His Sphinx is spread out a little bit. Necroguards go straight for that centre. You're like, okay, fair enough. Otherwise, not too much to note at that point. He gets double buff off on these, so I don't charge him. Fair enough. I actually let them off, so I'm like, I don't want to charge at this point anyway. Then goes on to my turn, and I move up like so. I chaff the fallen. I chaff with the fallen these swarms because actually, I think I win that combat. It's just whether or not he can do enough wounds through to me. I've got 15 attacks, offensive higher than him, strength higher than him. Res higher than him, so
4 of armor as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm actually I don't mind that at that point, and I move them to a position where he can't charge the chariots as well. So I'm happy enough with that. I think at that point, the chariot just kind of moves over. At this point in my head, I have got to try and sort my head out because I'm like, oh damn, I've just lost 3 victory points in that one thing straight away without him even moving. That's how good he is. But yeah, so I'm a bit tentative on the left just because I want to zone more than anything. Of
course.
And I'm like, all right, I'll just zone and just stop losing points. The right hand side,
it's also something to keep his scoring skeleton off that spoil, isn't it? Really?
Yes.
If that's all your chariot can do, then it's still worth it, really. Yeah.
I'll move up on the right with that, and otherwise, I kind of move back with my chosen in the center because I quite like a counter charge. I know that. Well, I don't think the combats will last more than 1 if he goes into it.
Sure. The
Necroguard are quite a long way in comparison, and the Sphinx is only 1 of them can get in. So I'm like, if I can survive, I'm golden. I think.
Yeah.
And then the chosen come in. So there's that. I get Word of Iron off on these guys as well, just in case he wants to, because I can't get out of the sign line of sight. So if he does come in, I am effectively 3 up armor after his AP, I think. So I'm happy enough with that.
That's cool.
He charges in, and I'm very interested to see how this goes. I also chaff him up here, and he charges there because I'm ready to pounce. He goes in and does 2 wounds on the thing as well, so that's always helpful on the dangerous terrain.
Bonus.
Unfortunately, he had just enough to chaff me, and he's very good. He uses single models quite a lot, and he's very good at being able to chaff me with single models so that I can't get my full unit in, which just sucks. This is like one of the mechanical things that he played it very, very right, and I just can't do anything about.
Linehammer when you need it, right?
I know, right? I know.
Woo, 7 naughty words.
But yeah, so there is. That's how it looks on this side. He also gets scrying off and guiding light on this side as well.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Over here though, I go to town on the swarms as expected, and I'm very excited. If the Fallen can chew through this unit and potentially take another, then I'm very, very happy. Really,
definitely. Yeah.
They obviously kill the dogs, and I choose to pull the trigger. I can get 2 in. Let's go. Let's get some magic. I'm thinking, right, if I can get some magic on them, like reroll to wound, because I've got flame in, I might be able to do some wounds there. I also
Sphinxes haven't got that many attacks.
Like, no, only 5. They have stops, but yeah. I also go in this way, and I'm like, my chosen love that, like the amount of stuff, and so they got, and the chariot goes in to help the Fallen out as well. Yeah, thinking at this point.
Might as well. Yeah, I was just going to say the chosen. Everything's wounding on 6s, so you've got to kill it at some point.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, and they've just got so many attacks, is what I'm thinking. I move up like so. I don't actually mind where I move with the things because I'm going to now move them over to help the chosen knights. And this is my gambit really. So out of the 2 Sphinxes, who will I choose to buff? And I think the chosen have it. The amount of wounds they've got, they go. So I go over to that way. Also, there's the chariots and the skeletons have now come down, so there's points over that way. Potentially, also it keeps my big unit safe. So there's a few reasons
I think if the knights go down, the skeletons just get that objective. And
you
can't get over there ever. Yeah. So
I currently have the objective as well on that side. So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I do move these guys over here to chaff them, but also just to say, all right, this is the side that I'll really buff up and with magic and such. I do get a buff. I get quicker. Well, he stops the Word of Iron and stuff like that I put on. But I get quick lash on these guys just basically to get the alchemical fire off on the Sphinx. So I've got the rerolls to wound. So yeah, let's see what I can do there in that regard. And also kill a chariot. That's not bad. I know he can now go into my knights, but they still got to go through the ruins. I'm not too bothered. Over here, I do 4 out of 5 wounds, I think, or 5 out of 6, whatever it is. I do just 1 less, and it's at this point I go, well, maybe actually, if I'd have got alchemical fire off on these guys,
to reroll to wound,
then that would have been much better.
Yeah, because I suppose you really didn't want to leave it to the stomp, because I'm guessing
I go first. Yeah. So if I kill him, I don't take any wounds.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if I don't kill him, he does 10 wounds to me, and I'm like, I was just 1 off. I was 1 off being amazing over here, but maybe my choice to not back them up with magic backfired.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll help on the other side. Spoiler, it doesn't.
No, clearly doesn't. But scrying was up there, so
Yeah,
it's hard to hit them as well.
Again, perhaps I'm what's it the term? Throwing good money after bad.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe it was better to just stay in the center at least 1 more turn. Maybe, I don't know. But it meant this happened, and I'm really not happy about that grind, to be honest.
No.
I obviously didn't win combat as well, so I don't even get the gluttony there.
Yeah.
Over here, he charges in. Fair enough.
I mean, why not?
He also charges the Fallen rather than the Chariot, which I'm like, okay, well, I can turn and we can do stuff, so that's interesting.
If they
and he charges. I didn't see this. He has the millimeter enough to be able to see my Helmor, With his...
Oh, you Helmore! I thought you can't see the Chosen. What's he doing? Yeah. Okay.
With the guy on top. It's a fairly long charge, but boy oh boy, he makes it in. And of course, because I didn't see it, I didn't think about any overruns. He's got an overrun right into the rear of the Chosen. Not good.
That's not good at all. No.
Yeah, this is how it looks otherwise, and I'm just like, oh my goodness me, this battle is a mess.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't even cast Stars Align, but it's aligned.
He gets Spectral Blades and a wound back on this guy, just a rub salt in the proverbial wound.
Yeah.
He kills me, goes into the Chosen, and with all those attacks, kills the Chosen, and it's just just left, right, and centre. He turns both to face the rear of my Chosen chariot as well.
And goes through the
really is just looking around going, where the hell is everybody going? Why is everyone dying on me?
Yeah.
The Dark Gods are not pleased.
No.
Over here, he only does 2 wounds, and I do a decent amount to him. And I do because I now don't have rerolls to wound because it's Wasteland Torch only first round. On this turn, I do 2 wounds. Go figure.
Yeah.
Just, I have no idea what's going on with this game.
Scrying's gone. So
but he wins combat because of combat res and everything. I lose by 1. I roll like a 12 twice, whatever it was. I just crumble, and oh my goodness, it wasn't good. I
love that his chaff is lion unit. It's like, what do we chaff? What do we chaff? Oh, it's gone. What do we chaff? What do we chaff?
Oh, right.
It's gone.
His chariots even had enough to, because I got quick lash off, enough to move past me and just out of it. So that was so on my turn, my 2 units that are facing up, just face the middle.
Turn around.
Let's bring on. My chariot actually gets to a point where it is in the front of the Sphinxes, and the Sphinxes cannot charge it. So there's the tiniest bit of good movement on my part to stop the inevitable.
Yeah,
really. But otherwise, as you can see, technically I have a chance to get this objective on the right if he doesn't just chaff me for the rest of the game. So that's my only way to draw. There's no scoring on the other side.
Only if the skeletons don't run away with it.
Yeah. So
which they will.
We can go for a draw and minimize. It's all about minimizing the loss now. So that's my. How can we get that? Is my only thoughts at this point. Because all I have to do in movement is just move around. I know, I'm taking what I can. I get Word of Iron and Kavara, and I put it on these guys. It doesn't really matter, but I put it just so I do. Word of Iron, just in case any damage comes up my way. And onto his turn, he chaffs my chariot with his chariots, and has the Sphinx to mop up, essentially. And the swarms are there also, just so that I can't get out of line of sight. On the right side, he brings his Necro Guard in. He brings an extra Necro Sphinx. He chaffs me with the lions, who take a bunch of DTs, to be fair. But it doesn't matter because they don't panic, and they do the same job whether there's 1 or 7. And otherwise, the skeletons just turn to face. If they had them, they'd be sticking out their tongues at me. This shows this
magic doing a wound to you or something. Or
probably. It's probably that.
Was he healing something? I don't know.
I don't have much. I don't think I can do. So I charge. Why not? Let's do it. Let's
give him some action. Yeah.
And over here,
I just back up.
So this is my turn. I back up because at this point, if he can't, he has to charge his chaff into me to get his Necro Guard in. Is what essentially the thing, and then the Sphinx as well. So there'd be a weird not maximizing. I'd get all my attacks. That's the best I can do. If I charge him, I did have an overrun, I think, into the rear of his chariots, but then I get countercharged and things like that. So the best is just to do this.
Sure.
I go through, woohoo, points.
Well done.
And he does charge me with everything. He loses a further 2 on the
that's annoying.
dangerous terrain, which is actually really
You're hoping to kill them
to me.
Because it means he can move and get everyone in.
Yeah. But as you can see, I've got Word of Iron, I've got Road of Battle, I've got Alchemical Fire Off, and this dude over here. Who's only got maybe 4 wounds, maybe 3, maybe 4. I think it's 3. I think it's only 5 wounds. No, I've got spells. We can do this. He does get Ancestral Heads, the only one he gets off, so that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Over here, he comes into me, and I only take 2. So that continues. Over here, he actually does a decent amount to me, getting through my armor save. My armor save wasn't very good. And the ones I did save with Spike Shields didn't do anything. Remember, I got Sloth as well, so I'm like, I just think I lost more than I thought I should.
I suppose he's just he's rolling for the lethal strike, isn't he? So that might have
and
poison
your armor
goes
bypass Sloth. So you're like, okay. So it was annoying.
I got to kill aid, I imagine there were a lot of wounding rolls. So.
Yeah, so there was that. But I do a decent bunch to him as well. I get one on the Sphinx also, and it's my turn next. But unfortunately, they lose. They lose combat, and they run straight away. So I don't even have the second turn.
Really?
I think I'd be all right on the second turn. And I was like, we could continue on the left, but I'd rather have half hour to sulk. So I have half hour to sulk, and the game is done. Unfortunately for me, and what a shit show.
I don't think you did much wrong.
So
the theory behind much of what you did was right, but
I tried to be quite objective after it, and obviously you shouldn't ever 5 dice a spell. That's a blatant thing. I was just like, I've got 1 dice left. What am I going to do with it? Nothing.
You basically asked yourself what was the worst that could happen, and found out.
Well, yes. So the worst case scenario
could have just not
happened.
Done. Yeah.
So I could have not done it. So I could have done 4 dice. Wouldn't have been a 777. It would have been a 666.
Yeah.
Even if 555 and a 6 came up. So there's that. The second thing I think objectively I did wrong was bank on the wrong combat. So we've already sort of kind of discussed it already. The Chosen were in the same time as the Chosen Knights. I think if I bank on the Chosen in the middle and just keep them there, and then maybe later on teleport over to that side, maybe even with the Chosen, right? And sort of go that way slowly. I think that's a better game plan overall.
You could have even backed up with the Knights and forced him to charge you. Yeah. And that way you would have got all your Knights fighting in one go, and you would have only buffed the Chosen in your turn, so you can just buff 1 combat at a time.
Yeah. So you played very well.
Yeah.
And he pounced on some mistakes that I had, and also like I feel like if I got that extra wound with the Chosen, things might have been a bit different. If my saves have been a bit better over here, might have been a bit different. So those are the slight bits that I could complain about luck-wise, but realistically, I think I banked on the wrong one, and I did 5 dice, and that was it, and that's all it took to get 20-0'd.
Yeah,
and I guess that's what happens when you have a small army as well. Like if you do make a couple of mistakes or some big things go,
one piece goes,
it unravels quite quickly, and it's a bit of a shame because I wanted to make a game of it. I know for me, I think it still is a red matchup because everything of mine is wounding on 6s on the Sphinx, and they are just so tough to get through. Especially as you say with divination backing them up and stuff, and then you've got the Necroguard on top of them as well. There's lots of moving parts, etc., etc. So I don't think it's anything less than a red. Let us know if you think it is, because I'm very new to this army, so I may be wrong. I just wanted to make it a game, and I feel like it wasn't a game. It was just I was just there, really.
But what you're going to tell us is that the team did superbly well.
Well, funny you should say that, because we go on to the team. Obviously, the objective is his as well, and we kind of we do better
Oh,
because Paul
I saw
gets
the
a
20-0 first. Yeah.
So essentially, what was Luke was down as yellow. He gets yellow. Me and Cluzy was down as red, and boy oh boy did we follow through.
Objective achieved.
Oh yeah, we deliver.
Bang on. Yeah.
But Paul was down as a yellow. I think it might have been an orange actually, because he wasn't quite sure how this list deals with the double vampire.
Sure.
Cav unit, but he did, and he dealt with them, and 20-0, yeah baby. So Paul to the rescue to salvage something. So we go down as it's actually only a medium loss.
Sure.
In regards to everything, because mine and Paul's bow out, we ever so slightly lose with Luke, and then obviously Cluzy's loss as well. So
30-50. Yeah.
So it wasn't as bad as it could have been, and as bad as the matchup, but that was just because Paul 20 him. So
well, yeah, fair play.
Poor Andy. That's our things as well. So that leads us to the end of this bat rep. I'd quite like to forget it, but if you do want to
comment, share, like, and subscribe,
to just really push that bullet in. Been there, the wound there.
Wiggle it around a bit,
yeah. Please, by all means, do, because you never know, it might cheer me up. But yeah, it was. I played it. I think regardless, Hugh played it well. I played it badly. The matchup delivered. He bounced on some mistakes, and that was that.
Indeed. So we'll look forward to round 3, and I think that is probably where we should go next.
Well, I'm out of tears, so I can't cry anymore. So
no.
But yeah, if you do want to hit us up and say the comments are always the best bet. But if you want to search for us, we're on the forum, on X, Facebook, and the Patreon, and we're doing a few more bits with the Patreon as well. Probably even more so in the next couple of months, not immediately, but a couple of months when 3.0 drops. So if you do want to get involved in that, go on the £2 Patreon there, and we will chat to you about getting involved.
We will.
But until then, stay safe, have fun.
Not like you.
See you later.